Howdy my dudes, Random Pipe Fan here. I'm up to tier 15 maps. I got through the early game pretty quick. I'm well into the end game, and this is progressing very well. Obviously, we know that we can clear the map in a second with Lightning Spear, and I've already put out a video showing how we can nuke bosses in a second with Stormlance, but I'm going to be showing exactly how to progress the campaign. And so, quick tip before I get too much into it. What we're going to be doing for the campaign is taking advantage of the explosions on Stormlance. This is going to take care of all the small groups initially, and it will nuke bosses really quickly. This is absolutely essential, but you won't have the frenzy charges to proc it off initially, so what you're going to be doing is throwing out detonating like the explosive spear and then the lances, and it's very important for your storm lance to have scatter shot, otherwise it won't work. So you throw out your detonating and then the storm lances, and it does incredible damage for the campaign and leveling. It's really fast. And there's one thing though, you don't want to set multiple because for whatever reason there's a limit and it just erases them. So you need to let them proc, but it will nuke packs and it will carry you on. Okay, so now let's go through level 1. You're going to be taking basically all of them because unfortunately damage and skills just aren't there yet. You're going to be using the disengage with explosive spear to get the charges and nuke things, or whirling slash and twisters. It's very effective, but as soon as you get to rank 3 you're probably dropping disengage for Fangs of Frost because the frenzy charges are very inconsistent as it is. Fangs of Frost, you stab something, you freeze it, it's very defensive, and it procs the twisters. It's very good. Unfortunately Lightning Spear does not hold up. Rake is a valid option with the stomping ground support where you stack strength, but that is less fun and it does not work with Blood Hunt later on, and Rapid Assault doesn't fit. But now when you get to the jewels of skill 5 jewels, you get Barrage and Stormlance, and that's incredible because now you have Explosive Spear and Stormlance, and so that is going to be doing that tech, which will nuke everything for you, and you won't even need frenzy charges. It's very powerful. It will get you through the games. Unfortunately, at rank 7, Blood Hunt, Glacial Lance, and Primal Strikes are all disappointing. Primal Strikes is disappointing because it requires shock on the target in order to be able to do its powerful attacks, but at this point in the game, you do not have the damage to apply shocks, and same thing with Glacial Lance. You can throw 4 of these into a pack of white mobs and none of them will come up frozen, and you won't even notice that they're chilled because they'll just be running so fast at you, it's like nothing slowing them down at all. And Blood Hunt just doesn't do enough because Rake doesn't build bleed fast enough. I had a pure fizz spear early game and I tried to make Rake work for about 10 whole minutes before I gave up on it because the damage wasn't even close to twisters, and it was basically on par with base lightning spears with no way to buff it. There is better options for rank 7 though, and that is Voltaic Mark. It's pretty great. You can use that to pop mods and it will actually help you clear quite well. I was using less than optimal tech at this point in the game, but Voltaic Mark did get me through a lot of sticky situations. Sniper's Mark sounds great on paper, but unfortunately it doesn't because at this point of the game you do not have the crit chance in order to proc it consistently, but this will be your bread and butter later on going forward. And then Profane Ritual also sounded good because if you accidentally took Infused Weapon as your first Ascendancy, like I thought was a great idea, it can give you power charges and then you can consume them with potential support with any of your skills that you're tossing out, and it will let you actually use that ascendancy point, but it does not fit. And the reason why it does not fit is because unfortunately, very unfortunately, Infused Weapon got nerfed. As you can see, it does 159 attack damage with 1.8 meters radius. It was nerfed on release. I didn't even see a single patch note saying anything about it. Made me actually quite sad, and the reason why it's sad is because in the press release where they actually gave us all the information, I'm pulling up the image right now. I need Huntress Ascendancy skills. You'll see they show it instead of 1.8 meters as the 2.6 meter radius, and instead of 150% damage, it's 600% damage. So this is not what you're expecting it to be. So don't even worry about going with Profane Ritual and trying to make that pop off. There is much better options. Okay, so that is the rank 7 stuff. You're just basically going to be using Voltaic Mark. At the 9th, you get Thunder Sleep and Tame Beast. So the reason why this is good is because Tame Beast gets mods. You have Explosive Spear going to proc the Storm Lances. And now when you get Thunder Sleep, you get another way of doing this. You can come in and slam on top of it and dunk people. And it's pretty fun to be dunking on bosses, dunking on enemies. It's really strong. It gets you through maps. It gets you through most content. But it's really dangerous because while you're in the air like this, it's a long time in the air and enemies can hit you. And I got one shot by bosses a lot while doing that. Alright, so you got your Thunder Sleep, you got your Storm Spears, and then you want to go fishing for Pokemon so that way you can get a nice little rare with some good mods. It's going to be nice for a little while, but unfortunately the rare doesn't really hold up because he doesn't, well, a lot of them can't really stick near you. So if you get one with a really great aura, you're getting the aura like at most 25% of the time that you should. And it also gets left behind quite a bit and they get taken out quite a bit. But for the first few levels that you have it, Tame Beast is great. Now, some gems that felt like absolute failures, obviously Blood Hunt. It did not keep up with the fantasy. Probably late game it would be great, but early game it just did not proc enough damage. Break did not bleed enough. Glacial Lance did not freeze. Primal Strikes is useless without shocking, and then it removes shock, and it's very difficult for you to get shock early game. Also, Whirlwind Lance is quite disappointing. I thought it might be incredible with the boots that give you pin buildup, so that way it could have procced your Combat Frenzy a lot more often for more charges. But unfortunately, this didn't quite do enough. Its damage was very lacking. It's going to be needed with Twisters, but at the same point, if you're doing Twisters, you're going to be using Whirlwind Slash, so that way you can use if you did melee damage, you get ranged attack bonus, and if you do ranged attacks, you get melee damage bonus. This just kills that synergy. There's really no use in Whirlwind Lance in its current iteration, unfortunately, with going through the campaign. It probably is going to feel amazing in endgame, but for campaign, do not worry about it at all. And then finally, the Spear Solaris is a massive disappointment as well because you can't even use it until you get enough glory from heavy stunning enemies. I read that and I didn't touch it because you want it when you need it, not when the game decides you can have it. It's obnoxious. Yeah. Wind Serpent's Fury would have been great, except for it crashed my server, crashed my game, kicked me out multiple times when I tried it. So this is going to be something that we try out later in the future when it's fixed. Now for the Ascendancy points. The Ascendancy points are really straightforward. Don't get Elemental Infusion first. Get Critical Strikes. It's much more powerful than I ever thought it would be. It is really incredible. Even early game with basic gear, you're going to feel it. As it stands right now with my really good accuracy stuff, with a 137% chance to hit, you can see that I have normally 13.68%, but it's given me over like 54 to 84% extra crit chance thanks to accuracy stacking from critical strikes. It's incredible. And then second, if you are able to get consistent charges off, it would be okay to get Elemental Infusion, but Penetrate is still incredible. If you can get a weapon with huge accuracy rating on it, when I put this, like when I got this node for Penetrate, it more than doubled my DPS compared to a weapon that had higher numbers but less accuracy. I'm very surprised at how much damage it was because it was incredible. I feel like it may be acting as if it's base damage on the weapon with how hard it scaled. And then a perfect third Ascendancy is Elemental Infusion, although I did have Elemental Infusion when I got mine and got Penetrate after. But like I said, this here doubled my damage, and this here is just like, it's a nice little bonus. It's probably like 5 to 10% increased damage overall, because it's not every hit, it's most hits for me right now with how many charges I get. Well, it may be every hit on certain maps, but it's still a 159% damage instead of the 600% it used to be. It's a relatively small area of effect, and my Stormlance and Lightning Spear are definitely doing more than that. Like, this is nearly 300% damage, and this is 170 on the... Oh, it's 170 on the projectile, but the Frenzy Charge detonation is a lot more. It is a lot more, and it doesn't take into account. This here is a low number. Stormlance is giving you the DPS for these little zappy zaps. It's not giving you this, and it's not giving you when you have Frenzy Charge, and it's all the zaps in about that amount of time, and then an explosion on top of it, plus shock to ground. It's ridiculously good. Now, for support gems, there are some support gems that are absolutely essential. There is no leeway on it. You need these support gems. And unfortunately, a lot of them are rank 2, but some of them are rank 1. So obviously, the first one, Scatter Shot on Stormlance. This one here you can get like basically right away, which is fantastic because it unlocks everything. It allows it so that you have the maximum going on every time you toss it out. And then if you have it with Frenzy Charges, all 3 of them get the Frenzy Charge buff instead of just 1. Lightning Spear, it doesn't feel good until you have Volt. And then when you have Volt, it feels incredible. Absolutely incredible. It also feels really good with Innervate, because by the time you have Volt and you're getting the damage off and you're able to clear screens with it, you finally do enough damage that with this 100% more chance to shock, that you're actually going to be shocking things. So then you get a 35% damage multiplier, which helps you shock more. And then Primal Armament just adds so much to it. It is very, very good. Stormlance goes really well with Elemental Focus as well. And I like Ambrosia, but these aren't needed. The only other really desperately needed ones are like Barrage should have Premeditation every time. It's just phenomenal. And then Herald of Thunder. Electrocute, obviously. But then Neural Overload, it's a rank 3. Unfortunately, the 3rd rank support gem. So it's going to take you a little while to get it. But as soon as you have this, it's going to be shocking things all over the place. And it's going to be just printing Frenzy Charges for you. It's really incredible. And then if you can afford it, get Deadly Herald, which is obviously why I have a Scepter. Now for the Spirit Gems. Spirit Gems are a little bit more straightforward, luckily. The first one and the best one is Wind Dancer for early game. Nothing competes because the only other option is Herald of Thunder, and like I said earlier, you do not have the damage yet to get shocks off. And so when you get Herald of Thunder, you need to be able to get the shocks consistently. You won't need to worry about something like Mana Remnants, and none of these will even affect you. You probably won't even be able to equip them. For the 4th, or like level 8 Spirit Gems, Combat Frenzy is absolutely essential. But by the time you get this, you're still probably going to be having a hard time getting the charges from Combat Frenzy, because you won't have Neural Overload for Electrocute yet, and you won't really have any freezes unless you have like somehow Call of the Brotherhood drop for you, or if you got the Keto something gloves that make electrical damage contribute towards or lightning damage contribute towards electrocution, then you will actually have a really good time with Combat Frenzy early on, and then it'll unlock a lot of things, plus hypercharge your spear skills. Other than that, there isn't too much else. You're going to be nearly done the campaign by the time you get to the 14th rank Spirit Gems, but when you get there, there's 2 standout ones for sure. Trinity can be really good. It's a more damage multiplier, and you'll get 2 stacks of that. So right now this would be 16% more damage for me. It would be 20% because the quality is 2% more LE damage per 50 resonance. The issue is that we do all lightning damage, so we won't be able to charge up the cold or the fire damage very easily. If we could, it would be incredible. In theory, level 20 with 20 quality, if you could get 100, 100, 100 in all of them, that's 72% more elemental damage. But that's just not attainable right now with Lightning Spear and how the build is set up. Maybe we'll figure out how to get better advantage of it in the future, but right now, we're not worrying about it. And now the other thing is Chaos on Critical, because you get so many crits. You're critting all the time, and I have this to the point where I have Chaos on Crit with Sniper's Mark now just to give a few more Frenzy charges throughout the map. I was using it with Profane Ritual, but it just wasn't worth it. It really isn't. The Sniper Marks give so much, or the Frenzy charges give so much more, so I just took Sniper's Mark off the bar and completely automated it, so now I can play like this with just having Thunderous Leap as a mobility skill for gapping. Barrage is just there for when I decide I want a little bit more damage, which is very rare that I ever press it. Stormlance kills bosses and big rares, and Lightning Spear kills everything else. It's extremely, extremely good, and then after that, you get a lot of leeway of how you're going to want to add some extra things. Like, I got so much extra spirit now, I tossed Blasphemy on there with Conductivity because I felt like, hey, I might as well drop their Lightning Res anymore. It feels pretty good too when they're all rushing you and you get to lower everything for them, and like, hey, it works very well. Then yeah, I don't have anything else on there, but now there's a few gems that do not synergize well, and I was very surprised about that. This here is kind of like spilling the tea of the gems that drop the ball. Number one is one of my favorite spirit gems, Charge Infusion. Does not work with this because you're consuming the frenzy charges so fast that it's horrible if Charge Infusion takes one. You're not getting hundreds of frenzy charges, you're getting like one or two, and it's giving you all the charges to buff your abilities, and when this takes one, it feels really bad. And so you're not getting benefits of like the attack speed from the frenzy charges or the crit chance from the power charges all that much. And a lot of the time when you're trying to do the Stormlance tech with Sniper's Mark, so it'd be like, instead of doing explosives, wrong button there. Instead of doing Explosive Spear, Lance, Explosive Spear, Lance, like that, it would be like Sniper's Mark, Lance, and then as soon as the Mark procs, you'd hit Mark again, and then when the Lances pop, you throw them, and then the Mark goes, and then you throw the Lance, and then the Mark goes, and then you throw the Lance, and it's a really nice kind of little dance of hyper damage with the frenzy charges that you'll be getting, and the super buff Stormlance, because it does way more damage than popping it with Explosive Spear, because it still does all of those little zaps, but about 10 times faster, and then it does the explosion after and leaves shock ground. It's incredibly, incredibly powerful. The other ones that are disappointing, on top of my unfortunate favorite Charge Infusion, was Roa Mount. The reason why Roa Mount is not good is because while you're running on it, the stun on it does not seem to go away. So you could be 30 seconds untouched in a map, but your stagger bar might still be 3/4 from the one mob that smacked you earlier on. It's very surprising that it doesn't seem to go away. It will clear if you dodge roll off and then get back onto it, but that's a kind of a pain in the butt. Also, you have to keep getting on and off the Roa every time there's an interactable, like there's a lever to pull or a sacrifice thing to drop on an altar, or anytime you're in the trials. I did this through the trials, and I got off that Roa Mount about 50 times just because of all the things you have to interact with. It was horrible. And then on top of that, the way the Roa Mount works, I don't know why, when it's moving, it throws off the way you're aiming. So like normally you would run around and you would aim and it would land where you're throwing, and it goes like very, very close to where you're throwing. But a lot of the times when you're on the Roa Mount, you'd be throwing like that, but as you're moving, it throws off the trajectory, maybe because you're supposed to slow down, but the Roa is still going. So you'll aim here, but then the lance will go there, and you're constantly missing your target, and it's very frustrating. Finally, the other one that I was very disappointed in, because I failed at reading, was Reaper's Invocation. I really wanted Reaper's Invocation with Profane Ritual. I thought it was going to be incredible until I realized it only works with melee attacks. Unfortunately, Reaper's Invocation does not work with this build unless you're trying to go something else completely different like the Bleeding or the Whirling Slash. So unfortunately, we can't do Reaper's Invocation Profane Ritual with this deck, and especially since you got to get the kills with the melee, and the charge infusion only, or the infused weapon only works with projectiles. It doesn't have very good synergy. So how are you going to put this together? There is a pretty straightforward way about it. So Act 1, you're going to get all these 4, and probably Fangs of Frost and Wind Dancer. With those, it's going to be everything that you're going to need to do to get through and beat the boss. You're probably going to use parry to beat the wolf guy, the Baron, or whatever his name is. It's no problem. But then Act 2 comes along, and you're going to clear up a lot of those skills, and it's going to be much less of a pain in the ass. You'll probably not need a scepter yet. What you'll need is the attack speed, so you'll use Dance with Death, which is incredible for 25% more skill speed. Then you come up here for all these attack and skill speeds to make your character feel good with the throws and everything. And you're going to use the Explosive Spear with Stormlance tech for the majority of it. Plus, you could have Thunderous Leap in there if you get that gem at that point. I don't think you'll get quite Thunderous Leap Act 2. I think that's Act 3. But then you also have Voltaic Mark for helping clean packs up as well. But then when Act 3 comes around, you'll finally get another bit of Spirit. You'll get Herald of Thunder in there. You'll have enough damage to get Herald of Thunder procs going off. And you'll actually be able to have Lightning Spear really pop off at this point. So it'd be Lightning Spear, Stormlance, and probably Thunderous Leap at this point. Thunderous Leap to proc the Stormlances, a Lightning Spear to clear the packs. And then you're going to be using Sniper's Mark, because you'll have your first Ascendancy done for the extra crit chance to get your Stormlance procs off that way. It's basically what's going to carry you through the entirety of the game. But if you don't want to use Thunderous Leap, which gives you access to the melee and ranged combo damage supports, you could still use Explosive Spear to proc it off if Sniper's Mark isn't proccing consistently enough with you for Stormlance. But by Act 4, everything, and I mean everything, is online. Like, you might have a Tame Beast before then, but Tame Beast unfortunately uses percent spirit instead of max spirit. So if you come here, you'll see that I got this guy. No, that's an existing Tame Beast. This is 35.4% of spirit. That's too much spirit. This one's 39% of spirit. It punishes you for going Scepter, and it feels bad. So you're not going to want to use that too long unless you're really jumping into the power fantasy, but it's going to take away from using things like Cast on Crit and other really fun spirit skills. So yeah, Act 4, your Lightning Spear is going to be fully online. You'll be able to use it with the support gem that you need with Volt, and Stormlance is going to be working with Sniper's Mark at that point if you're stacking accuracy enough to have any bit of good crit chance. Thunderous Leap is still optional to proc that. I used it for the entirety of the campaign, and I wish I didn't, but it is still a good mobility skill to traverse gaps and the like. For your spirit skills, you should be using Wind Dancer and Herald of Thunder for sure. Herald of Thunder with Combat Frenzy should be giving you a lot of constant and consistent frenzy charges all throughout. It doesn't seem like a lot, only getting 1 or 2 frenzy charges per go, but the fact that you have Perfusion on there to have a 50% chance for an additional charge, and you can quality up another 20%, 70% chance of having additional charge every time is pretty dang good. And yeah, you'll feel the power from it for sure. If you can, cast on critical with Sniper's Mark if you can. Otherwise, just keep manually casting Sniper's Mark. Other really good options are Mana Remnants if you're having mana issues. You shouldn't, but it's an option. Tame Beast could still be good if you really like it. Blasphemy is good. I have it with conductivity support. You could also use something like Temp Chains to keep things off you a little bit better. Blink if you like that blink. And I know I didn't like Roa too much because the faults in it, but it is still a decent option for you if you want to use it. And then you'll be rocking this tech all of Act 4, Act 5, Act 6. This is the bread and butter, and it's only going to get better and better as you get more gear. It really, really scales fast and hard. Like, there is a little guide though. Do not worry about your gear except for just your spear, because you're going to be clearing so fast that, yeah, you might die a few times against a boss here or there in a map, but it's really not going to slow you down too much because you're just sprinting through maps, like actually sprinting through them. And as long as you have a good weapon, that's all it takes to get through the campaign. I had a weapon swap at level 26 because at level 26 there is a base weapon that is massively stronger than all the ones below it, like the 22s and 20s and all that. They do not even remotely compare. It's like half or a third the damage. At level 26 you definitely should be buying one of those spears. I think I still have my level 26 one. Not there. Maybe it's like 15 exalt tab. No, that's my level 45. I must have already sold it then. It would have been nice to show it off, but like, yeah, I had one that was, I think, level 16 or something, or 10, and then comparing to the level 26 one, it was just a ridiculous difference. And for comparison, upgrading to this level 65 one is probably about double the damage on top of that level 26 one. And it's crazy how good of stuff you can get early on. Get that, and it'll carry you through the campaign, and yeah, then you will be set. Things like defensives can be figured out later on. I didn't start buying things until I'm level 81 now. I was probably level 75 or 76 before I bought anything defensive. A scepter though, a scepter is very nice to have. Percent increased spirit is good, the more the better. There is 64% increased spirit on here right now, but you could get, I think, up to 90%. I do not have an overly well-rolled one, but it had Purity of Ice, and this is kind of fantastic. The purity skills can really help fill the gaps in your build. So like, I need cold res. I'm still only at 50 with a level 16 purity of ice. So this is doing wonders for me. It's giving me over 30% cold res. I think it's getting 31%. But you could also get like Heraldry of Fire, Lightning, or Discipline, which are all very good. And yeah, finally, if you have currency, use it to buy things. It's almost never worth it to craft. With that said though, this spear here I have because I crafted it while leveling. I just got to maps kind of thing, and I dropped it. I think it had either the flat physical or the percent physical, and then the accuracy, or sorry, the attack speed. I then used a regal on it, and I got the accuracy. It was like 426 accuracy, and I went, oh my god, that's amazing. So then I slammed it, and then I got the other physical, the percent or the flat. And then I slammed it again, hoping for the best. And first I got the increased stun duration, then I slammed it a final time for 6 mods, and I got plus 10 to accuracy rating with light radius. So it did technically improve a little bit, but I got super lucky with this. I actually got 2 super lucky slams. I also had this one in the same map. This one here was the percent physical on it and the projectile skills. Then I slammed on 125 accuracy and the flat fizz, but then the other things were useless as well. So hoping these sell. This was, I think this was the spear that I used to clear the trials, and this spear without the penetrate mod compared to this one was much higher damage, much higher damage. But then after putting on the penetrate mod from the Ascendancy, I got more than double damage I had before with this spear, and this one here was only like a 50% increase. So this is monstrous how much damage accuracy can give you. Overall, this is a fantastic build. I have continued to refine and refine, and as you can see, I only started right here. I came up and around a corner, this is basically nothing for maps, and I'm already in tier 15 because it was so obscenely powerful. I just kept doing boss after boss after boss after boss until I'm now at tier 15 Waystones. This is a crazy powerful build. I hope you guys enjoy the hell of it. Good luck with your leveling. I know you can get there. Don't listen to the doom and gloom. Huntress and Spears are insanely good, and GGG just buffed them. Lightning Spear was clearing maps like crazy, and now it's got more damage and more attack speed. Stormlands has more attack speed, and yeah, I'm very happy about that. Everything has less damage too. You guys are ready and set for success. Well, you guys have a great day. See my dudes. Thanks for stopping by.